Idiot tries to follow me home because I wouldn't fix his truck for practically free. So I took the scenic route. Don't worry, I called a rescue. By users is. 2. He's a very entitled veteran and supposedly a Purple Heart one. He's also a very racist, MAGA-type dumbass. One of the reasons my boss will not absolutely have him as a customer during business hours, but will work on his truck after hours with no one else around. The usual mo is he tries to fix something on his truck and fucks it up, then expects everyone else to fix it for really cheap, using his veteran status as a guilt trip because he already had done half the work himself. This time, he fixed his brakes and somehow no longer had rear brakes. His truck is 2 bolt failures away from a junkyard. My boss is out of town, so I was in charge for the week with strict instructions to not help him while he's out. He showed up at the shop today demanding I fix his truck. I had already closed the building up and was ready to leave. I told him when G gets back, he'll fix your truck. He didn't like that answer that said something I picked up on to be racist remark and told him to fuck off till G gets back. He gets pissed and grabs a piece of wood and throws it into the desert. I start my drive home, and a second or two later, I notice his truck behind me and matching my lane changes. I live 40 miles away, so I knew he wouldn't keep up with me in the hills, and I didn't want to kill him by outpacing him, so I call my friend, who's only about 10 miles in the middle of the desert, and told him I was gonna swing by because I think I'm being followed, and I was gonna take the scenic route. He told me he was going to meet me at the halfway, and if he had to, he would scare him off. The scenic route is 7 miles of rough desert road that will destroy any truck without long travel suspension. A lot of locals use it to test and tune their desert off-roaders. I get to the turnoff into the trail, and I see his headlights turn in behind me. At that point, I shut my lights off and turn on my desert headlights and floor it. I made sure to lure him into the first set of jumps. Right before the jumps, I kicked up a bunch of dust and turned off all the lights and waited at the other end. I see his headlights again, and I could tell he cleared the first jump, but I could see his headlights shake going down, which is a sign of suspension failure from hitting the ground hard. I turned on all my lights so he could see where I was as I left and proceeded to my friend's location. He was waiting for me with his brother and a big shit-eating grin. He told me he saw me about a mile away because of the lights, but couldn't see the other truck behind, and he just said, "Looks like he missed the first jump. I'm gonna call rescue." We hung out another few minutes and took a different trail that led me to the highway home. Later in the evening, I get a call that he was fine, but his truck was literally bent at the cab and bed from the 5-foot drop he experienced. He said he got lost going home. I plan on calling G in the morning and letting him know I'm having that dumbass trespassed from the shop for that stunt. Update: G has been contacted. He's taking my side on this, and he's no longer welcomed at the shop.
He's been formally trespassed by the sheriffs. I also saw the truck. It's literally bent with the bed and the cab pressed into each other at another shop.
I will still cancel your reservations. By user 11nuts4. I posted here a while ago about receiving text updates for reservations I didn't make, fitness classes, apartment tours, dinner reservations, in cities I don't live. After tracking down an email, I asked the person to stop using my number but never received a reply. I finally canceled a reservation for 6 in Manhattan. The alert stopped. The person seemed to get the hint, or so I thought. This morning, I wake up and have a text about a table for 3 Reese in New York this upcoming Monday night. Just set a Monday afternoon reminder to cancel it. Asshole neighbors put up their house for sale today, on my birthday. By user offensive mailbox. My asshole next door neighbors, who have repeatedly called the city about my property over the last couple years. The city inspector and zoning lead of my city have literally called them insane and have personally apologized to me over their actions. Kicked my dog, called the police on another. Neighbor's dog stalked me when I walk my dog, literally stare into my windows, email and text me accusing me of things I've never done. Tried to rally other neighbors into hating me. This backfired epically. Put up their house for sale today on my birthday. Over the years, I've taken a few steps of petty revenges, such as played my music extra loud when they would be in the yard, allow my dog to poop in their front yard, park my car in front of their house. They get pissed about this. Call into the city. Lately, I won a zoning argument they tried to call about, and the city gave me a permit to finish the work done on my house. This literally was the last straw for them to move out of my neighborhood. Ironically, they put it up for sale today, on my birthday. Poetic justice at its finest. Update: I went to the open house today with my fiance and dad. The whole neighbors weren't there, but realtor of course was. She was very nice and encouraged us to sign the guest book. We all 3 happily obliged. I thanked her for posting the listing on my birthday, and it's the best birthday gift I've ever gotten. She smiled and said she'd pass along my info and what I said to the owners. Additionally, there was another younger couple very seriously looking at the house to buy. I encouraged them to do so and told them about the neighbors and neighborhood. I really hope they buy it and move in. They said they love dogs. Won't stop calling me to collect someone else's debt. How would you like their new phone here and address? Oopsie, hung up on ya. By user Jeffrey Stoopsteak, a tale as old as time. You get a new phone and it blows up with calls from debt collectors. Most people can just send unknown callers to voicemail.
I unfortunately worked tech support for a large company at the time, so I had to answer every call.
I'll spare you the details of how annoying those folks are. Very should suffice. And I got tired of it pretty darn quick. I put up with it as long as I could, but then something broke. I needed to fuck with these assholes in as much as it was possible and legal to do so. Mostly, I just wasted as much of their time as I could. But for the really annoying ones, I had a routine that I developed over the course of about a year. This is my petty revenge in the form of a dialogue. Dunner, is this Joe Detter? Me. Is this about the unpaid phone bill from 2010? Dunner, yes. Mr. Detter, are you going to pay? Me? Hang on a sec. I never said I was your dude. I work with him, though. He sold me this phone a couple of weeks ago and told me I might be getting a few of these calls. Listen, could you please just call him directly? I can give you his new address and phone number, and the phone for our department if you want that too. Dunner, that would be wonderful. Thank you. Me. Are you ready to write this down? It's full click. Invariably, they'd call back, thinking I had just accidentally disconnected. I'd say something like, sorry.
Cell coverage sucks around here.
I apologize. Do you still want me to Silic? You'd be surprised how many times they'd try again. I answered, and pretended to accidentally hang up. Every single time. They all eventually figured it out. Not before getting really angry, though. 10 years later, I got revenge on Horrible My Landlord by user El Bagel. Long story short, landlord was a childish jerk to all of us. He had us sharing about with 4 other people and charged us double while his spoiled son and girlfriend lived rent-free. And a few months ago, I had a lawyer contact me and ask if I remembered renting there and if I'd testify against him. Turns out, he wasn't the true owner of the property. His brother bankrolled all of the properties he told us he owned, and in turn, the landlord was supposed to remodel on time and stay on budget to get the houses sold. Instead, he lived on and wasted the money his brother gave him, and pocketed all of the rent without his brother's knowledge. His face went white when he saw me, and I tripped his lawyer up, who asked me 2 weak questions, then said he didn't have any questions for me. As I left the courtroom, I saw him from the corner of my eye sneer as I walked past, and he very loudly called out to me a sing-song voice by Sarah right in front of the jury. Today I learned he lost the entire case. Petty revenge activated.